I'm Lindsay, and I'm sick. I'm sick and tired of mental health getting a bad rep. Because every time a deranged shooter walks into a community, walks into a school, kills somebody, who gets the blame? Mental health. I'm sick of mental health always being the bad guy. Because there's something more than wrong with this person's brain, no question, but there's something wrong with his heart. So let's stop blaming mental health for that. I'm sick of people looking at my wrist like, is that why Lindsay was in the hospital for 21 days last year? Did she try to kill herself? Did she try to hurt herself in some way? I'm sick of people not taking my mental illness seriously just because suicide wasn't my thing. Because on my wrist, I'm reminded of the good things I have in my life. And more importantly, because suicide was not something that was my issue last spring. Last spring, I was hospitalized for 21 days at Mary Greeley Medical Center. I was at the behavioral health unit, the 6th floor, for 21 days. And this is what I did for most of them. I paced. Because I'm manic. I'm really manic. And both my therapist and psychiatrist are sitting here and they're smiling big and wide because they know how manic I am. I'm so manic, I can't even sit in therapy sessions. So I have a therapist who walks the streets of Ames. Some of you in this room have honked at me because you know that I cannot sit still, so instead my therapy sessions are out in the open, and I am an open book. And I have a story to tell, and I'm gonna get there, but I gotta tell you how sick I am. Because mental health is important, whether you're considering taking your life, or whether you're just a mom that can't even be still with your kids, or do a presentation and your hands shake the entire time. I'm sick, all right. I'm sick because I have a condition that I was born with. Mental health is not a choice. Mental health is something that we are given by birth. It is a genetic condition. Some of them range in really, really severity, and again, some of them aren't as serious, but why don't we take it that serious? Because we don't take it serious until someone calls out mental health for something negative, or we don't consider it serious till someone takes their life. So I'm here to tell you about my life and how I deal with mental health on an every single day basis. And let me tell you what else I'm sick of. I'm sick, period. I'm sick. I take medication every day. I go to therapy sessions once a week. I see my psychiatrist once a week. And I've asked this question of myself so much lately. Why me? Looking up. Why me, God? Why did you give me mental health? I am the most positive person I have ever known. My husband will tell me, Lindsay, you are the toughest son of a... I can't swear, because it's a school, and Elisa Franzen's sitting there. Damn. Well played, Ames High. But I'm sick because I have a condition that targets me every single day, that affects my brain, and again, it's something that I cannot choose. And nobody takes it seriously because no one stands on top of a mountain when they or people stand on top of a mountain when they're beating cancer, and no one does that for mental health. So I've told my people around me, you gotta help me through this, because find me a mountain, I'm ready to climb. So thank you for having me tonight. Thank you for letting me give a little bit of insight to a condition that's debilitating and scary and very, 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 very heartbreaking to have. I have bipolar. And I've never said that in front of a group of people, and I'm gonna say it again. I have bipolar. I have bipolar. I have bipolar. Damn, that feels good. Thank you. It feels really good because there's nothing to be ashamed of. Now, I've had people who say things like, oh, Lindsay has bipolar. If she coughs enough, we're gonna get it. No, it's not contagious. Again, we are born with this. But more importantly, I don't like the labels, because as soon as you tell somebody that I have bipolar and not I am bipolar, because we aren't our illnesses, we aren't our imperfections, we simply have them. And there's a big difference between the two. But when I tell people I have bipolar, they're like, okay, let me research bipolar, and they Google it, and they see the word manic. And raise your hand if you've ever heard the term manic before. Oh, so a lot more of you than I would have thought. I am insanely manic. I never have slept very well. You notice that I pace in everything I do. I respond to emails as quickly as humanly possible. I will try to do a game on color, so I do color commentary for the Iowa State women's basketball game. I'll be tweeting about it at the same time. I'll be talking live on air. I'll be responding to a text message to a best friend. I'll be emailing somebody who's I'm doing a training session with, and I'll be sending out a blast email about Campus Cycle, all within the same 10 seconds. You're like, that sounds fun. And it kind of was fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was really fun. But it was also really hurtful, because I'm going to post a picture tomorrow on social media, and it's the first time I've ever been still with my children. Still, just me and my kids, nobody else. And my daughter, she's a little hellion, and all she does is move, and I love her for it. Because it means she's got a piece of me in there. But there's this picture, and my husband took it, of just us, with just the kid, just me and the kids, and just still, all three of us. And still is so hard for me to get to, still is so hard for me to find, so I take medication for it, and I'm good with it. But if you Google bipolar, I kind of dealt with the manic side. Again, I like the manic side. Heck, there's people in this room that have probably partied with Manic Lindsay, and Manic Lindsay's a good time. Manic Lindsay's got ideas. Manic Lindsay wants to create things. Manic Lindsay is constantly on the go. But I didn't realize how hurtful it was till I couldn't even be at peace with my own children. Now something I'm getting more used to. But if you Google bipolar, the other words you come up with, does anyone know? What's the other side of bipolar? Anyone? You get a high five, free women's basketball tickets. Shameless plug, come to the game Sunday afternoon, 3:30. Hey, we got a big game, so make sure you come. Yes, depression. Okay, now when I say the word depression, this one still kind of eats me the wrong way. And it gives my therapist and psychiatrist more work than they know that they have ahead of them. Because I am the person who not only tweeted about it, and Instagrams about it, and Facebooks about it, but I believe that life is so short and so precious and so meaningful that I really haven't had a bad day since 15 years ago, since I met my husband. Seriously. Seriously. I haven't had a bad day because, and I'll tell you the truth of it is, because my husband was born with a congenital heart defect. So when I look up to God sometimes and I just need to ask him, why me? Why did you give me a mental health condition? And then sometimes I sit back and I think, well, maybe he put the troubled mind and the troubled heart together and said, we'll go off and try and build a family. And we have. And the two best things that we have are our two children. But when I think back to that word depression, how could I be depressed? I mean, the guy looks like Justin Timberlake. He's so good looking. And how could I be depressed? Because I have a nice car and I drive nice houses. Or I don't drive nice houses. You get the point. I live in a nice house and I have a good car and I have good insurance because my husband and I work our butts off. But more than that, I've learned that depression is not something you can always control. Because I have this business, I have businesses. I own Campus Cycle that's been a phenomenal business here in the Ames and Ankeny community. And I run this business where I train young people and I teach them and I mold them and I have them hold a plank and there's 3 or 4 in the room and I could tell them right now to hold a plank and I could coach them up for 3 or 4 minutes to hold that plank even though the body says no and the mind says yes, and come on, you can do it. But as my therapist told me a few weeks ago, you can't athlete your way out of this one. There's no Twitter quote that you can look at that is all of a sudden going to solve the mystery that is you having mental illness and depression and manic. And even though you don't like that word depressive, there's things that are called non-situational depression I learned this week. Where just because bad things happen, it doesn't mean that I all of a sudden have to be or don't have to be depressed, that's just the mind working. So let me tell you how ugly my mind got this fall. It was September 27th, we went to the Justin Timberlake concert. Can I get 2 claps if you like Justin Timberlake? Okay, like we're talking world famous guy. I don't want to put him on Michael Jackson level, but in our generation, he's up there. Okay? We went to a Justin Timberlake concert. It was the worst hours of my life. Constant music, loudness, all that stimuli really wasn't helping my brain. And all the while, I'm sure I'm posting on Instagram, having a blast at JT, da 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 da. Social media isn't real. Social media isn't real in the sense that that's exactly how my life is 24/7. And we got done with the Justin Timberlake concert, and we went back to our Airbnb, and I could hardly sleep. So I ran and I grabbed a Bible. Like, let me just read the Bible really quick, and if I thumb through however many Acts of John, I'm gonna for sure I'm gonna get over this, and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be smiling from ear to ear. And I woke up that morning, and I was the lowest I've ever felt in my life. And we called my therapist and my psychiatrist. And we're driving back on Highway 35, passing right by Albert Lee, and I have a blanket hovered over me. I'm shivering in fear. And I'm telling them with tears running down my face, but I don't know if I should be here anymore. But I don't know would my family be better without me? And shivering. And I don't think that meant I wanted to commit suicide. I think it meant, well, maybe I just wanted to let him go live life without somebody with bipolar, because it's been a lot on our family. It's been a lot. It is a lot to deal with any sort of major illness that one might have with mental health. And both of them reassured me, it would be fine, it would be fine. And that's to tell you, I'm telling you this as someone who, for years, my entire adult life, I have preached, you either are having a good day, a great day, or an extraordinary day. And that's how I felt. And so when I turn upstairs and I look and I say, God, why did you choose me? I get it. You chose me because I do have a positive outlook on life. And the people with my condition who are bipolar, if they don't have a positive outlook on life, I'll let you guess where that goes. When they're crying in a car leaving a Justin Timberlake concert, makes no sense whatsoever to me. And the entire car ride home, I'm looking at Billy like, please don't leave me, please don't leave me, please don't leave me. And it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's mental illness. It doesn't make sense. Unless you're willing to embrace it, unless you're willing to say, I trust this process, I'm gonna get the help I need, something's not right here, somebody please help me. And so thankfully, over the last few weeks, over the last few months, really since I exited the hospital April 26th of last year, I am doing the things that help somebody who's living with bipolar. But maybe your thing isn't bipolar, and so here's where I want to help you out. So what I want to do is I want to take just the remaining time to give some suggestions. And these are all suggestions as someone who's an experiencer. I'm not an expert. The expert talks next. I'm an experiencer. The expert are the people who were standing out there with their tables on a cold winter evening handing out important information. The experts are my psychiatrist, my therapist. I joked with them that if I couldn't make it through this speech, I was going to throw the mic at them, but I'm not going to, because I'm feeling really good, because you guys are paying phenomenal attention. Your eye contact means the world to me. So what I want to just leave you with are 3 things. And you could be sitting here and you could have nothing to do with mental illness. You don't have a sibling member, you don't have a family member, you don't have a friend. I would call you kind of blind, dumb, or stupid. But you're sitting here right now and you're saying, I don't want to accept it. Because even until Monday morning, when I had my last psychiatry meeting, I didn't want to accept it. And I got into that campus cycle room and I started pedaling, and then that's when I had that God wink moment, like he was telling me something. I gave you mental illness because you can now go talk about it. Because people don't want to talk about it, because you're willing to be vulnerable. Because I truly don't have anything to hide. And so regardless of whether this makes sense to you or not, my hope is that you take one of these 3 things and that we all do them better. Because I know for me, as someone who's living with mental illness, I know it certainly has helped me. The first one is communication. We all have to get off our phones. We got to communicate better with each other. We have to look each other in the eyes. We have to slow down enough to ask somebody, how are you doing? And when you say, how are you doing? And someone says, just another day in paradise, as I have said for the last 15 years, because I've copied my mentor and someone who means the world to me, this is paradise. It died. Can you hear me? Yeah. Perfect. So I was one of those people who I always say, somebody would say, hey, how you doing today, Liz? And I'd say, well, it's just another day in paradise. And I meant it, and I mean it, because this is paradise. We don't get a second chance at life. But truly, at the root of it, I've now started to change my answer and just be a little bit more honest. When someone's like, how you doing today? I'd say, well, it's another day in paradise, but damn, it's a cold paradise we live in. Or maybe I would just learn to say something different to the right people, because I have this support network and this support system that is so phenomenal that when they ask me, how are you doing now? It's a lot more than just trying to find an automated response. And that's been really, really powerful. My family is better because of it. My friendships are better 1,000,000 times over because of it. Because they're okay with me saying, hey, you know what? Something's off today. And I don't know what it is. And I'll get the coaching and the come on, let's go. But other times I gotta tell them, hey, you know what? Maybe it's the medication. Maybe I'm feeling a little depressed again about something. Maybe I have emotional, undealt with turmoil that I have completely shoved under the seat to be this positive role model for others, and in essence, totally hidden anything that's been painful to me. So we gotta communicate, and we gotta communicate better. If you're on board for communicating better, 2 claps. Good rhythm, Ames. The second one is we gotta take care of ourselves. Taking care of ourselves sounds ridiculous, but last time when I was in the hospital, what I do is I give up sleep, I give up drinking, I give up eating, I give up doing anything that is normal, taking care of oneself for days on end to pursue an idea. And sometimes those ideas are like, how could I build a gym here in Ames? Hi, Greg. Sometimes those ideas are, what charity event could I run that would be significant and phenomenal and huge to change in this community? And when I have these manic things, the very first thing I stop doing, two things. I stop eating and I stop sleeping. I am here to tell you, in the 90s, we grew up with Jay-Z and Nas and Tupac and Biggie, and about every other song, it was like, you cannot be successful unless you don't ever sleep. It was like the underlying tone of all rap songs in the 90s. Thank you. And so I've learned now I actually sleep. Campus Cycle, raise your hand if you've heard of Campus Cycle. Oh, thank you, love that little, I see Coach Chad up there, one of our resident favorites. Here's the thing, like Campus Cycle is doing great and I'm actually sleeping 8-9 hours a night. And I had this anxiety like, oh my gosh, I had to send emails at 2 o'clock in the morning because what if Soul Cycle tries to come in here and do us out? And what if some other business tries to do this or do that? And I used to brag to my athletes, hey y'all, I didn't sleep last night, but I'm still on court training you out. Ooh, bad role model, super bad, Lindsay. That wasn't the right thing to say, but that's what I grew up hearing. Because that's what P. Diddy said, was the only way you'd be successful is if you don't sleep. Incorrect. And I believe this generation, we have the worst sleep habits than ever before because of our what? Our phones. They sit right next to us, and we all have the answers, but we are unwilling to make those changes. Don't sleep with the phone nearby you. Put on Do Not Disturb at a certain time of the night. Do things that allow your brain to just relax and just be. And I finally learned that your brain can be maximized at its full capacity. It will work the best if you are willing to sleep every single night. So sleep has become a new non-negotiable. Taking care of ourselves, making sure you're actually eating meals, not skipping meals, very important thing. So taking care. And I'll say this, and I know that there's some moms in here, and I'm not trying to be sexist or I'm trying to put labels on anyone. This is true of anyone, but moms, let's take off the cape. I've had to ask for more help over the last 7 months, and it pains me. My mother-in-law in here moved into my house last spring for 21 days to take care of the children. My father-in-law did the same thing. I feel like I owe them the world. I just show them their grandkids and it's a lot cheaper. But the point is, I finally learned that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to take off the cape. Lindsay, you don't have to fill all these different hats and do all these different roles. And it's okay for someone to watch your kids so you can go get your workout in today like I did. And it's uncomfortable and it doesn't make me feel right away. But when you have a strong support system, anything is possible. And when people look at me and they say, wow, you're recovering well, I have a great team. And that great team is the doctors and the therapists and the psychiatrists. And it's those people, but it also, the real team starts at home. So let's make sure we're protecting our teams, we're taking care of them, we're asking people around the holidays. You have family coming in and visiting, ask them to watch the kids so you can get some you time. So taking care, 2 claps if you're gonna take care of yourself, maybe a touch better. All right? And then the last one is embrace. And I say this one most confidently because I finally have embraced it. And this event forced me to do it. Embrace who you are. There is no one here who is perfect. No one. Whether you have cancer, whether you had cancer, whether you have diabetes, whether you have a mental illness, whether you have whatever it may be that you have, it is okay to not be okay. Let me say that again. It is okay to not be okay. Is it okay to talk about your faults and to show people that it's okay? Social media, Lindsay's got it going on. She's got the 4 kids, or not 4 kids, dear Lord. No, I told y'all I was sick. No, she's got 2 kids and this beautiful family, and I do have it all. I truly, truly do have it all. But I have it all because I'm finally willing to say, you know what, I have a problem and I need help. So may we all, especially as the holidays are coming around, just learn to embrace who we are. And if you have ADHD, I have ADHD too, and my coach who's still sitting in here, I never listen to him, ever. Don't tell him I just said that though. I never listened to him because I had ADHD, and so he would be coaching me, and off on the sidelines, I'd look at his son, who was my boyfriend at the time, and this is where it all gets kind of confusing. But I could do like a lot of things with ADHD, and I've always told people that I think I have something about me. I don't know, I can do a lot, and I can be listening to one person, but listening to 3 other conversations happening just down the hall all at the same time. That's a skill. So yes, I have ADHD. And OCD. OCD, embrace it. It just means your house is cleaner than everybody else's, right? I know I got a sprinkle or a tickle, or depending on what you look at, probably a big amount of OCD too. And heck yeah, hell yeah, I have bipolar. And I'm damn proud of it. Damn proud of it. So embrace who you are. None of us are perfect. None of us look the way we necessarily want to, but we are who we are, and the only thing we can do is every single day put our best foot forward and make the most of it. And if you're struggling with something for mental health, please get help. Please don't sit there in silence. Know that I'm going to be loud and proud about this thing because he gave it to me, and I'm very, very proud of that. But not everyone has to be loud and proud. I don't expect one of you to be doing this next year. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But be who you are, because who I am is this. And be very, very proud about whoever it is that you are, whatever it is that your parents gave you. And so here's the last thing I'm going to ask you to do. Go ahead and close your eyes. Today is November 15th, 2018. You will never get it back. Make the most of it. Smile through it. Battle like hell. And have a damn good time. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening.